Going through the strength and flow yoga for specific whole conditioning. So it's basically just a blend of conditioning exercises and yoga. So before we start, do you have any little dumbbells? Grab the 5 and 8 and the 3. Okay, and then do you have a yoga block perhaps? Okay. And then do you have any kind of like resistance band type of thing or one of these little tubey guys? Either one works. That's perfect. That's perfect. Resistance band. All right. Just want to make sure we have what we need for class. The resistance band and the tubey things are kind of interchangeable. So with that, we're just going to start off with some activating breath to warm up. You can sit kneeling or cross-legged, or you can sit on your block, whatever feels best for you. I like a block, but whatever you like is fine. And we're just going to start off with some activating lion's breath. So with that, we're going to place our hands on our abdomen, and as we breathe, we're going to be setting our intentions for class. Just thinking about what your goals are, what we're working towards, not being hard on ourselves, but just thinking about our intentions. And with this breath, we're going to do a deep inhale in, and on our exhale out, you're going to stick out your tongue wide, like that, and you're going to make an H sound. So you're going to stick your tongue all the way out, and you're going to make an H sound like you're blowing on a mirror for your exhale. So whenever you're ready, we'll go through that 3 times, inhaling in, and big exhale out. Again, inhaling in, and exhaling out. One more, inhaling in, and big exhale. And that one kind of feels silly, but is just nice. It opens through the jaw, kind of opens through the neck, and you'll expand through the ribs a little bit more with that H sound on your exhale. So it just allows a little bit of a deeper breath. And then from here, we're just going to warm up our neck and our shoulders a little before we move into everything. So you're going to take your right hand overhead towards the left ear. You don't have to touch the ear, but just towards it. And you're going to tilt towards the right, opening through the side of the neck. Maybe you leave your hands where it is, or maybe it comes out to the side with the thumb pointing up. Noticing how that feels down the shoulder, into the collarbone, maybe down the arm, or up into the neck. Just taking 2 more breaths here. And on your exhale, you can release back to center. And we're going to do that on the opposite side, sending the left arm over towards the ear, tilting the head towards the left shoulder, and maybe you extend that right arm out. Noticing if you're holding any tension from one side to the other. Maybe it's even, maybe you feel loose, or maybe one side's holding a little bit more than the other side. Not judging, but just taking notice. And with your next inhale, you can release the hand, coming back to center. We're just going to move through a few neck circles. As we do, I want you to imagine that you have a paintbrush coming off of your nose and your chin. So we're not just dropping the neck back behind us, but we're staying nicely engaged. Maybe you start off gazing at the right shoulder, sweeping the chin low, coming up to the left and circling up to the sky, painting a big circle with your nose. Noticing if that feels a little more activating through the back of the neck rather than more of just dropping the neck back. Maybe you do 3 more circles this direction. We're going the opposite way. Noticing if you feel that down the back, into the shoulders, maybe down the chest or up the front of the throat. Checking in if one side holds more tension than the other. If there's any areas that want to stick or feel like they don't want to go as far into the stretch. Not forcing a deep circle, but just going as far as it feels good. And then on your next inhale, You can release the head back to center. We'll extend the right arm out. We're going to go through a little bit of wrist flossing, so you're going to come to a stop sign, wrap the hand, double check you aren't hyperextending that elbow forward, keeping it nice and neutral and bendable, and then pulling it back, looking beautiful. Have you been practicing those at all? Yeah? Good, I'm so glad. Yeah, sometimes we don't even recognize that, like, that's what's causing a discomfort, and then we're like, oh, wait, it was that easy. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can flip the fingers towards the floor and pull them back. Yeah, my favorite thing is sometimes it's not even, like, necessarily the stretch that I go for with this. It's sometimes mainly just a check-in before we move through exercises to not hyperextend. It's a good reminder for me, good reminder for you, good reminder for us all. And the stretch feels good in the wrist. You can release that hand, shaking it out like there's water. And then we'll repeat to the other side, setting the left arm forward, wrapping all 5 fingers and pulling them back towards you. Keeping a nice little micro bend on this side as well. Noticing if you're holding any more tension from one side to the other. If you're feeling the stretch more in the shoulder or in the wrist today, maybe in the forearm or the elbow. And then you can send the fingers to the floor and we'll pull them back towards you again. Noticing if your range of motion feels similar or different from one wrist to the other. Not judging, but just taking notice. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And releasing that hand, shaking it out. Maybe we just go through a couple slow motion circles. Trying to go as slow as you can, noticing if you feel it down the small stabilizers down the front or the back of the hand, down the fingertips or into the wrist. And after you've gone a few rounds one way, you can rotate the opposite direction, noticing if you have any pops or crinkles along the way. Not judging, but just taking notice. And then we'll shake out the hands, and we're going to move to tabletop. Keeping the hands stacked with the shoulders, spreading through the fingers, and keeping your elbow armpits facing towards each other. From here, we're going to sink back onto our knees. And if you want to grab your shoulder block, or your foam block from here, if you want to grab your heavier weight, we're going to try your 5 first, because have you ever done wrist curls? Okay, so we're going to try the 5 first, and then if it feels easy, then you can try the 8. The average woman is supposed to be able to do 8 pounds. I'm on 7. I started at none, so wherever is fine, but if you can't move through the rotation, drop the weight lower. If it feels easy, bring it higher, but essentially, I sink back on my hips. Can you see me okay? Okay. And I put my hand across the yoga block with my wrist hanging off, and I let it curl down. And then as I pull up, I'm trying to keep my hand nice and neutral. If it pulls to where it wants to tilt at an angle, you've pulled up a little too far. We want to keep the sides nice and even, and you just want to do 10 reps. You can move at your own pace. Trying to nicely control it, not rushing through. And I'm pretty sure that's 10 for me. But let me know when you finish your 10, no rush, and we'll go to the other side of the wrist. I started a little before you, showing it to you. Okay, so then we're going to flip the hand the opposite way, and we're going to curl it the opposite direction. Curling up. 2, 3, 4. Noticing if one side feels harder or easier than the other from the different directions. I think that's 6, 7. Trying to keep the hand nice and neutral. 9 and 10. How did that feel with the weight that you used? Good. That's okay. Yeah, you used the 5, and the 5 was a good challenge, right? So like I said, the average woman's supposed to be able to do 8, but if you look at a gym, most gyms go 5 to 10. So if you're never going to get to 10 as a woman, you get stopped at 5. So that's why I really like this, or you can buy whatever kind that you want, but this, like, they come off at a half a pound or whatever. And since I started with, like, not being able to do much, this was my easiest way to, like, up the weight. It's in my link tree. I think it's nice for, like, these, like, the little stabilizers, right, where you might start at 2 pounds, because sometimes you do, right? We're going to go to the other side this time, and we're going to do the same thing, starting with your hand across the block, and just having the wrist come off. We're just going to move through 10 reps on the left hand. Noticing if one side feels more challenging than the other. This one's my harder arm for sure. Making sure you're not holding your breath, you're just breathing as you go. And then whenever you reach 10, let me know, we'll flip it over. Alright, on to the other side, curling it down and up. 2, 3. Noticing if it feels challenging to keep it even, or if it feels easy. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. How do your wrists feel currently? You gonna shake them out? A little crunchy. Do you want to do another set of 10 of those, or do you want to stop at 1 round since that you haven't done those before? You can set those aside, and you can come off of your knees, give your legs a wiggle. For this next one, you can either do it kneeling or standing. I'm going to stand just for, like, my legs, because they're kind of tired of sitting on them, but whatever is most comfy for you. If you want to grab your band, we're just going to do some banded pull-aparts, 2 different variations. I'm going to come closer at first. I'm going to come to kneeling just to show you, but then I'm going to stand up. So we're here. I'm going to have my elbows to my ribs, okay? We're pulling out and in, okay? So my elbows do not come off my ribs, and I come back out, okay? I'm gonna do it standing. I think you can use a little bit more core that way. I just wanted to show you kind of the position closer up. But we're going to do 10 of those. So moving at your own pace once you get there, and you can kind of find where is best on the band for you to grip to get the resistance you're looking for. If it feels really easy, you can get that harder band. If it feels really hard, you can grab an easier one. Trying to pay attention to your wrists. Don't let your wrists let you cheat. Try and keep them nice and straight with the arms. We're going to do 2 more because I did not count, and call that 10. And in between, we're going to do our other banded pull apart. Can you see me? Where arms are going to be straight out here, and we'll pull straight out like it's coming across your chest. And again, try and make sure your wrists stay nice and engaged, not letting them just willy-nilly curl. 3, using nice engagement on your decline of it. 5, 6, keeping the shoulders low. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Maybe you shake out the arms before our next round. How does that feel with the resistance band you're using? Good? Noticing if you feel that one through the tops of the shoulders, whereas the other one's going to be more through the back of the shoulders and the inside of the arms, opening that rotation outwards. right? So a lot of times when we're hyperextending, it's from this range of motion here. So when we work on this and opening with resistance, we're working on extension so that that muscle will stretch, but we're using resistance with it so that it can be nice and safe while we move through it. The next one we're going to do are called Y pull downs. So let me make sure this is the good band for it, but you're going to start with your arms at a Y. I'm going to do this one sitting. But from a Y, you're just going to pull the right arm to a T shape and then come back up. And then you can pull the left to a T shape. And I like to go every other, and I just do 20, so it's 10 each side, but I go back and forth. Trying to engage through the bottom of the shoulders. And you can kind of check yourself in the screen to make sure you stay at a T. Sometimes it's easy to kind of pull wonky, but I definitely use my own like mirror or camera to like double check my stance if I'm not in a gym to see it. What number are you on right now? Alright, I was on 12, but then I lost it, so we're going to say 15. Do you feel this though through the back body, through the arms? Yeah, it's made for pull for real. Like truly. Done with that. We're going to just do a little prayer hand stretch since we've just gripped a whole bunch with all of those. So we're going to bring our hands flat to prayer, bring the shoulders down and back, just opening through the fingers, stretching through the wrist. I want you to pull your shoulders down farther so it pulls your hands up more. Because right now when you push super far down, it means your shoulder's slightly rounded. So you want to almost make a straight line, and you're going to feel that through the bottom of your shoulder blade. Do you feel that little bit of difference? Okay. Yeah. It's easy to kind of like start to round a little to try and stretch further through the wrist, but it's definitely a mixture of wrist and like pulling the shoulders. And then we're going to flip the hands so it's reverse prayer. And this time we're going to press up just a little. This one doesn't need to be keep perfectly straight. This is just a stretch through the hand and the wrist. It's kind of like the bottom half of the wrist flossing, but we're pulled in. And then we can release that, shake it out. And from here, we're going to come to standing, do a couple little ankle stabilizers. I don't know if you like heels or not, but we're going to stabilize our ankles either way. You're going to keep your legs together, so you're about hip width right here. Aren't you cute, little girl? About hip width. And you're going to sweep the arm. So from chair, you can option to stay here, or you can come up all the way onto the tippy toes. If that's a challenge, you can just do one foot at a time, going back and forth, or you can stay fully lifted, engaging through the core, gazing forward, engaging through the ankles, and then slowly sweep the arms low, coming all the way up to diver's pose, so my toes might not look as lifted, but they're still up. You can also put your fingers on the floor to start. Maybe you lift one arm, maybe you lift the other, and that'll help you find your balance to get there. And then we're going to sweep back forward, trying to stay lifted, coming back to that chair. Oops, falling over. And then we'll come out of it. All right, from here, we're just going to slide the hands down the legs, taking a little forward fold, coming all the way to the floor, letting your back round, and then we'll place the hands on the shins, inhaling into a half lift, and then we'll exhale, fold one more time. On this inhale, we're going to slowly roll all the way back up to standing, and you're going to bring your legs wide, toes pointed out, heels in, and we're going to sink the hips low, and we're going to lift up onto the toes again. Maybe you gently tuck the pelvis. You can stay all the way lifted with the hands on the hips, or you can sink a little lower with the hands on the knees, Just trying to lift up on the toes. Maybe you do one foot at a time again. Maybe you lift both. Just noticing what feels good for you. Engaging through those ankles. And then we'll release the feet, bringing them just a little bit closer together. Then we're going to sink down for Malasana, pressing the hands in between the knees, sinking down, opening through the hips. Maybe you rock gently left and right for a little wiggle. And then from here, we're going to come back to tabletop. So, we're going to do a couple scapular push-ups. So that's basically, we're just shifting through our shoulders here. So you're going to come to a normal tabletop stance with your elbow armpits facing together, and you're essentially lifting up through the shoulders and then dropping low through the shoulders. Up and down. And we're just going to do 10 of those. Noticing how that feels through the upper body. If that loosens up the ribs a little, the shoulders from the neck, or maybe you feel that in the arms. And then try and bring your belly up just a little to keep your back a little more neutral as you drop. There, yeah. We'll just do 2 more. And then we'll release from there. Sink back for a second. Maybe you wiggle a little left and right. How does that feel? Have you done those before? Okay, cool. So we're going to come onto our side. We're going to move through a couple clamshells. This is for our hips. So for our flares, you can have your head supported by your hand. I'm going to make it so you see more of my legs than my head. I have my right hand in front of me, and I'm going to stack my foot with my ankle. Okay? My feet are going to line up with my butt where my knee is bent. Like, it doesn't need to touch your butt, but like you're in a line. Okay? And then we're just going to open the knee, coming to a clamshell, keeping the feet lined up together. You don't have to go crazy far, and I want you to engage as you go. You should feel it through that outer hip. If you don't feel it, make sure your hips are fully stacked. If you stack more, you should have more engagement. Do you feel that? Perfect. Engaging through the core, through the glutes, through the back body. We'll do 3 more. And then we're going to flip to the other side. And do that on this side. And this is just because a lot of girls are having problems in their hips, in their pelvis, so I want to add some alignment there because we're kind of messing them up with our leg flares, I think. So you want to keep your hips aligned with the feet, not touching, but just nice and long and aligned. Knees bent. You can have your left hand in front for support. Make sure those hips are stacked. You're going to gently pull that top leg open. You should feel it through that outer thigh, through the back of the glute. Grounding with the right leg. Breathing as you go. Doesn't have to be a crazy far distance that you open as long as you feel that engagement. We're going to do 3 more of these. And last one. Okay, roll onto our bellies, bringing the elbows towards the kind of boob level, and we're going to pull through into Sphinx, pulling and opening through the chest, lifting through the shoulders, gazing up. And on your next breath, we're going to send the hips back. Just coming into child's pose, pulling the toes together and the knees apart, walking the hands in front. And we're just going to take 5 grounding breaths here as we prepare to close class. Reflecting back on everything you moved through, how your body's feeling. Just noticing if there's anything that your body's been needing, anything new you've been working on, and not judging anything that could have been different than you expected. This class is for learning. We're all here to improve and get better. So just appreciating that you came and you worked on yourself today. With your next breath, we're going to come up to seated. And we're just going to do one little bear hug each side to close. We're going to bring our arms out to a T, and then we'll wrap in a big bear hug. I brought the left arm under, but whichever is fine with me. Maybe you give a wiggle. And then we'll send the arms back out and wrap the opposite way. Again, giving a nice little wiggle. And with that, giving yourself a little love of a hug and a pat, and I hope that you feel like you got some nice activation, like you got some nice movement. You shouldn't feel anything too crazy, but just a nice amount of stabilization